In a galaxy far, far away, one hero's fall from grace echoes the tale of another, one captured not on film but on canvas. This connection between art and Star Wars uncovers hidden layers of meaning, showing how timeless myths influence our favorite stories. What does the 19th century painting by Alexandre Cabanel have in common with the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker? Today we explore how art and myth collide in Revenge of the Sith. Alexandre Cabanel's The Fallen Angel was painted in 1847, capturing the tragic defiance of Lucifer moments after being cast out of heaven. His furrowed brows and clenched fist convey anger, betrayal, and sorrow. Fast forward to 2005, and George Lucas's Revenge of the Sith brings to life a similar tale, Anakin Skywalker's heartbreaking transformation into Darth Vader. Though separated by centuries, both stories share themes of hubris, betrayal, and the loss of innocence. In both narratives, hubris is a driving force. Lucifer rebels against divine authority, convinced of his own greatness and driven by his belief that his wisdom rivals the Creator's. His pride and desire for autonomy sets the stage for his defiance, painting him as a figure who falls not from weakness, but from an excess of ambition and self-regard. Anakin, consumed by fear and loss, and promises of ultimate power, defies the Jedi Order and succumbs to the temptations of the dark side. Betrayal deepens their tragedies. Lucifer's rebellion fractures heaven, and Anakin's choices betray those he loves most, Padme, Obi-Wan, and ultimately himself. Both figures' falls are not just personal failures but cosmic events, with repercussions that ripple through their respective worlds. Lucifer's fall brings eternal darkness to humanity, while Anakin's betrayal ushers in the oppressive reign of the Galactic Empire. The visual parallels are striking. Cabanel's use of dramatic lighting accentuates Lucifer's defiance against a heavenly backdrop. Similarly, Anakin's descent is visually tied to fire and shadow, reflecting his inner turmoil. Both figures are framed as tragic anti-heroes, isolated in their anguish, yet still commanding our empathy. If we look at Lucifer's piercing gaze, full of anger and wounded pride, consider how Anakin's Sith eyes reflect that same intensity, a burning fusion of betrayal and sorrow, as though both figures are caught in the same tragic defiance against their fate. Now compare that to Anakin's transformation. His eyes burn with a fire of betrayal and a new allegiance to darkness. In both cases, the eyes tell a story of pain and rebellion. Even the environments mirror their emotional states. The serene, almost ethereal backdrop of Cabanel's heaven contrasts with Lucifer's rage. Likewise, Mustafar's volatile, fiery landscape externalizes Anakin's inner chaos. Both Anakin and Lucifer embody the archetype of the fallen hero. These are characters who begin their journeys with great promise and potential, only to be undone by their flaws. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect our deepest fears, the loss of self, the corruption of good intentions, and the fragility of greatness. The tragedy is amplified by the human connections they serve. For instance, Anakin's friendship with Obi-Wan, once built on trust and mentorship, ends in devastating confrontation on Mustafar, where betrayal and heartbreak culminate in one of the saga's most iconic moments. For Anakin, his love for Padme, once his guiding light, becomes the catalyst for his destruction. Similarly, Lucifer's defiance isolates him from the divine love, leaving him alone in his torment. Let's delve deeper into the visual language that connects these two works. Cabanel's painting The Fallen Angel uses a dramatic, high-contrast palette to highlight Lucifer's isolation. The dark, moody tones surrounding him emphasize his fall from light into the darkness. Much like the visual transition we see in Anakin, notice the positioning of Lucifer in the painting. He's central, almost as if the universe revolves around his fall. Now let's look at Anakin during his duel with Obi-Wan and Mustafar. The camera often places Anakin in a similar central frame, engulfed by the fiery chaos, symbolizing his internal struggle and descent into darkness. The expressions in both ways are key. Lucifer's face, as depicted by Cabanel, shows a mix of defiance and sorrow, his eyes conveying a deep sense of loss. In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin's transformation not just physical but emotional. His eyes turning yellow mirror Lucifer's gaze, reflecting an anger, betrayal, and a tragic acceptance of his fate. This visual cue is crucial. It's a direct nod to the theme of corruption through power and ambition, a theme visually represented in both pieces. The use of light and shadow is another point of convergence. In The Fallen Angel, light streams from above, casting Lucifer in a divine yet doomed glow, highlighting the paradox of his fall from heaven. In Revenge of the Sith, the lighting during Anakin's fall is harsh and red, symbolizing rage and the fires of Mustafar. Both artists use light to tell part of their story. Divine light for Lucifer, the fiery glow for Anakin, each light source casting long shadows of their respective falls. Finally, let's examine the settings. The backdrop in Cabanel's painting is ethereal, a stark contrast to Lucifer's dark figure, which visually isolates him. This is mirrored in Revenge of the Sith, where the serene, orderly Jedi temple contrasts with the chaotic, volcanic landscape of Mustafar, where Anakin's transformation occurs. Both settings serve to amplify the emotional isolation of the characters, with the fire environment of Mustafar visually echoing the internal fire of Anakin's transformation into Darth Vader. In the end, Anakin Skywalker and Lucifer remind us of the thin line between heroism and villainy. Cabanel's brushstrokes and Lucas's storytelling converge to show us that the fall from grace is a much more visual spectacle as it is an emotional one. What do you think? Is Anakin a victim of his circumstances or the architect of his own downfall? And how does Cabanel's painting invite us to reflect on the nature of rebellion and redemption in our own lives? Let us know in the comments below.